What are you doing in my chair? Oh, I get it. You won, so you think you can take my spot. Uh-huh. It's the preseason, man. None of these games matter. Why are you looking at me like that? Huh. I guess these games do matter. Oh shit. Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. That is not a dub. In fact, you could argue that it wasn't even close. My goodness, that shouldn't even have been 4-1. Pretty proud of the way they played in the third, but yeesh, not great. And it's not great for a reason. For a reason. These are our lines. These are our forward lines tonight. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. On the top line, Milan Lucic, Mark McLaughlin, Alex Chazon. Yeah, that's your first line. That's not great. The scoring line, or the one that you would expect to get on the scoreboard, and it did, the Heinen, Merkulov, Steen line, second line. Kuntar, Beecher, Lauko are third. Lauko and Beecher playing together is very much on purpose, I believe. I think we talked about that. And then Toporowski, Magna, and Boquist. I looked at those lines, and I really thought to myself, how are we scoring a goal tonight? I mean, really, who's our expected guy to bury one for us? Because although those guys can complement true NHL players, none of those guys can drive a line by themselves. We're hopeful one or two of them might be able to with some time, but none of those guys drive lines. None of them. Not in the current iteration of them. And then you get to our defense. Lohrei and Carlo working together, which was really interesting to watch. Grizz and Mast, Brunet and Mitchell. The defense, although better than the offense, still isn't going to be great. But as long as the other team... Oh, and then Kaiser was in net with DiPietro in net for the second half. As long as the other team doesn't play a bunch of their starters. This is who they were playing. Skinner, Thompson, Benson, Kulik, Middlestat, Nadau, I don't know how to say his name. Byro, Kozak, Rosen, Murray, Jobst, Cedarquist. I'm so bad with some of these names. Dahlin, Samuelson, Lindgren, Clay. He's an actual player. I should know that one. Anyway, Stillman and Ciccone. And then Levi in net. There's enough starters there that makes you concerned. And it should, but it's preseason. So you walk in with the expectation we're probably getting shut out, but let's see if anyone can make anything happen. And I don't feel like I was off base on that at all. What sucks about doing these videos is because you reasonably will sit there and go, bullshit. You just saw the game and then you made that note. That is not true. I don't do that. But I get the skepticism there. I'm not going to argue with it. This game was super fun for basically one reason. And it was, is Lohrei going to hack it against this mix of AHL and NHL players? We'll get there. We'll get to see. We'll get there. We'll get there. As we get back into the full swing of things, the goal is 10,000 this year. I haven't announced that, but we're gonna work towards 10,000 subs. Is it gonna happen? Who fucking cares? But that's the goal. Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. Discord below. Patreon below. Twitter below. Stuff. There's all stuff below. It's all there. Puck drops! What happened when the puck dropped? Oh, right. We went right back to what we were doing last game. 3 minutes in, Ryan Mast, who continues to just make me upset because I really want him to succeed. Like, he's my baby bird that I never had high hopes for, but I just keep wanting to have high hopes for. He's still a long road ahead of him. I'm not out on him. He goes for hooking or holding right away. I didn't see a hold. It was a bullshit call. Whatever. Penalty kill 19 seconds into the power play for the Buffalo Sabres. Skinner slap shot. Not too many goalies are going to save this. It was a nice feed to Skinner, who's in the right circle, and he wrong foots Kaiser as he's coming across and just gets the far side top corner as pretty gets. again, not too many goals are going to save that. I didn't like Kaiser's game. I thought he looked terrible for most of it because his rebound control was awful. But he made a couple big saves and 2 goals on 21 shots or whatever he finished with. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. I didn't like the mechanics of his game. But still, that goal's not really on him. Power play goal for them. It's 1-0. And then 5 seconds later, we're going to go to the power play because Kulik is going to go for high sticking. Levi comes up big once, but not a great power play. Lori got a bunch of touches. And early on, I'm like, wow, all right, we're using him as a quarterback for power play 1. We like that. It's nice to see him get so involved. He's taking a lot of shifts here, though. I wonder how long that's going to last. It lasted the whole game. He played almost 30 minutes. That's a long game in the preseason. By the way, did you guys see that Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner got 26 minutes each in the Leafs' last preseason game? If we play any of our true starters above 22 minutes, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I'm going to lose my mind. About 10 minutes in, Beecher's going to draw a hooking call. Beecher, once again, impressive, but nothing doing on that power play. The period's going to end 1-0, and Grizz doesn't finish the period. I didn't actually see what happened to him in the first, but he's not on the bench at the end of the period. We go into the second, and Grizz is back. And 3 minutes in, Grizz takes a slap shot to the gut. Grizz is back down the tunnel. The concern, he would return for the third. It would finish the game. Early on in the second period, Benson gets an early breakaway because Lori is caught up high, and Kaiser makes a huge glove save 30 seconds in. Just the best save of the night for him by far. And then 13 seconds later, there's a bomb from the left point. Stillman unloads, right? And here's Ryan Mast standing right in front of Kaiser. And Kaiser got a look at it. And it looked like Kaiser did the right thing. He closed in on the puck, shrunk a little bit, but like he was going to gobble that thing up, hopefully. And Ryan Mast is in front of the trail of the puck, doesn't get his body on it, goes for the stick, tips it with his stick, beats Kaiser. It's 2-0. Mast, I actually remember this Crosby interview from years and years and years ago. I want to say it was for a playoff game against the Bruins. I don't really remember. He had a chance to block a shot and went with his stick and tipped it into his own net, right? At the NHL level, I know this is preseason, but you either have to get your body in front of it or give your goaltender a good look. You can't just flick at it with the stick because more often than not, that thing has enough power and enough accuracy to be on net. And if you get it with the stick, there's a chance you're tipping it past a goalie who was prepared for the trajectory it was on. Does it always work that way? No, but Mast had a chance to get his body in front of it and opted to just kind of flick at it. That's on him. 2-0, not a good start for Mast, not a good game for him in general. Then the Grizz taking the slap shot to the gut happens. 5 minutes in, Lauko's going to go for slashing during the same play that Beecher takes a stick up high. But everyone's in preseason form. I'm not going to get mad about the referees. Penalty kill time. We kill it. In 6 seconds after we kill it, Lauko on the ice for 3 of them because it took him a second or two to get out of the box. Tripped Stillman. Interference was the call, but he just dug his foot under him and just, yeah. So right back to the box for Lauko. Lauko's going to be fine. Not a great game. Not a great game. Going back to the penalty kill, we kill it again, but mostly thanks to some bad passing by the Sabres, who were pretty clear that they were winning this one. And I think they were getting a little too fancy at this point because they were literally just having fun. About 5 minutes left, and finally some decent pressure by the boys, and Levi is just shutting them down. Any opportunity, he's all over it. Did he look good in this game? Absolutely. Is it because he's great or because we were not good? I don't know. I would say call him A, call him B. But Sabres fans are still going to be pretty happy with his performance in this one. Third period, not much to talk about. But 3:30 in, McLaughlin goes for tripping. We're going back to the box. This cannot be a theme during the regular season. We have taken, I think we took 4 penalties last game to their 4 or 5. And in this one, we got 2 power plays, I think, and took 5 penalties. It was terrible. Just awful. 27 seconds into that penalty kill, Benson's going to go for hooking. It's going to be 4v4 for a while. Then we're going to get 20-something seconds of a power play ourselves. And from that point on, the Bruins are all over them. The forecheck is heavy. Lucic kind of leading the way in that, but Boquist is right in there. Heinen a little bit, but not really. Merkulov was getting some touches. There was a lot of pressure on their end of the ice, which you really liked to see. After about 10 minutes of that, Brunet gets caught up high, and the puck goes back behind him. A huge part of this was a collision with Kuntar, I want to say. Yes, Kuntar. Either way, you can't be making a play on the puck with a forward at that point in the ice. You got to recognize where you are. Anyway, it turns into a 2-on-1, and Biro snipes top corner on DiPietro. Had to be DiPietro this time. 3-0. That felt like it, obviously, because there's about 7:40 left in the period. We'll go a couple more minutes, though, and the boys don't give up. We pull the goalie with about 3:40 left. 2:01 left. There's a face-off win, largely because some help from Toporowski jumping into the circle with Merck. Puck gets bumped back to Lohrei. Lohrei gets it past the first guy on net, and Steen is there to clean up the mess. High glove side. It's 3-1. We're not getting shut out. And Seiderquist is going to get the empty netter for a 4-1 victory for the Sabres. And the notes on this one, there's really nothing crazy because no one stood out in an amazing way. But your best player tonight, I guess, would be Lohrei, right? Played about 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes. Got better with every shift. By the end of the game, he was moving the puck well. His skating looked way better than what we saw during the Prospect Challenge. I don't know what that was all about. But he was really solid, I thought. He made some mistakes. We can't judge this guy at the same level that we're judging our NHL guys. We have to be ready for these kids to make mistakes because that's what they are. They're very, very young. We have to be ready for that. He, I thought, continued to get more and more comfortable with the speed, and a 30-minute showcase is pretty clear that Monty's like, I want a real look at a whole game of you. How long am I keeping you in camp? I think the whole camp. And are you potentially making a push for the NHL this year? He's going to get more games, obviously, but this was a big showcase for him. I think he did okay. He did pretty well. He didn't do great. He didn't blow my mind. Lucic looked slow, which is damning against this level of competition, but huge asterisk on that. Even though he looked slow, really effective on the forecheck, really effective on the board play, particularly in the third. He was not good in neutral ice, and he was not great defensively if the puck was moving well. Otherwise, if you got him in the board battles, he was doing a solid job. So for those of you who are excited about him being back, and obviously I'm going to root for him with everything I've got, the best case scenario was this. Still looked a little slow, but effective in his role. Let's hope that continues. Merkulov, in an interesting way, was quiet. Not interested at all. We knew this. He plays a quiet game. There's not much to criticize with him. He was solid. I just really need to see a couple of shifts where he stands out and shines. You got to have a couple of shifts where you go, damn, that was a really nice shift for him. And I really only remember a couple of moments with him, and it was never because of what he did specifically. He is usually a beneficiary of someone else making a play. Not a huge deal, not a damning kind of thing, but I'm hoping to see him a little more and see him take control a little more. Steen took control of his shifts. He was a grinder all game. His engine was running all game. Didn't stand out enough for me to be blown away or think that he's making the team, but he's doing what he has to do that he wants, that he knows the coaches want to see. Keep the engine going. Maybe we can use you in a fourth line role. That's about where Steen is at this point. Heinen was surprisingly not impressive in any way. I kind of expected against at least some of this level of competition, he would have some real good moments. Didn't actually like what I saw from him all that much. Really frustrating guy to watch. I mean, I think we already knew that about Heinen, though. I just didn't expect it in a preseason game. Brunet, too damn erratic. And it just occurred to me late in the third, he's just your Clifton. That's his ceiling, is he could be Clifton. He could be a guy who makes a great play that ends up in the back of the other team's net, and he could be the guy who does the dumbest thing imaginable and ends up in your net. He's just our Clifton replacement, and that's his ceiling. Which, to be fair, Clifton was really effective for us the last 2 years we had him. So that's not a bad thing, but he's got a long ways to go to hit that ceiling, and he is all over the place right now, and he is not thinking the game at the speed he needs to be even close to the NHL. The AHL, though, I expect that deal to get done. I really do think he'll be playing for Providence this year. The last guy is the other arguable for the best player. Beecher looked great. He did. Everyone knows how I talk about Beecher and my frustrations with him and everything. He has continued to be really effective physically, just really fast, athletic, on the puck defensively, awesome in our zone. Just really, really good. And the forecheck was steady with him. He was hitting people in stride on the transition, which is something I did not see a lot of through his college career or in the Prospect Challenge. Everything you want to see from him right now. So that 4C, we're really getting a lot closer to writing 4C in pen next to his name. I thought he keeps doing everything that we could expect from him. So huge ups to Beecher. Hopefully he can continue this and just lock down that role. It's one less role to talk about and feel comfortable with, because defensively he's been phenomenal. He's been really good in my book. Little mistakes, again, young prospects. We got to be ready for them to have those mistakes, but pretty happy with that. Really, actually really happy with that. My point still stands on him, but at least he's showing strides right now. Good enough. That's all I got to say. This feels like a low-energy video. This game was weird. It was fun to watch, but just the expectations were so low for anything. I'm just glad we got a goal. That's good enough for me on this one. I'm really interested to see who starts for us Friday, because we're starting to get to... So Game 3 will likely be a bunch of guys who are, okay, you're not going much farther in camp. We're going to have one of those games where it's just a bunch of randoms. That's either going to be 3 or 4, I think. 3 might be get some of the actual NHL players, more of them in the lineup. You know, your McAvoys, your Pasternaks, Marchands, and just have like a game and then let them rest for a couple more again. Some of those guys are only going to get 1, maybe 2 games in the preseason. But it should be interesting to see which one has a bunch of names where you're like, none of these guys are making the team. There's usually one of those in the middle of the preseason. Either way, fun to watch. We have hockey back. That's all that matters to me. And, you know, winning. Gotta love winning. Go Bees. Go